Right, I guess we'll get started with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time we'll call for citizens' input for agenda items only. Hearing none, we'll continue. A motion is needed to approve and dispense with the reading of the minutes of the Commissioners' public meeting held on Tuesday, October 2nd, 2018, the special public meeting held on Tuesday, October 16th, 2018, and the emergency meeting held on Friday, November 2nd, 2018.
A motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second on the question. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to pay all county and liquid fuel payroll as submitted by the Human Resource Office for payroll number 20 in the amount of $696,633.24. Payroll number 21, the amount of $714,662.43. And payroll number 22 in the amount of $728,163.18.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to pay all county and liquid fuel bills as submitted by the county controller in the amount of $8,233,019.84 from September 29, 2018 to November 9, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Announcements. The next regular public meeting will be held on Tuesday, December 4, 2018 at 1 p.m. in the public meeting room at the Administration Center, 399 Stadium Drive, Sunbury. A work session will be held on Tuesday, November 20, 2018, beginning at 10 a.m. in the Commissioners' Conference Room. The Northumberland County Courthouse, Administration Center, and related county facilities will be closed on Thursday, November 22nd and Friday, November 23rd in observance of the Thanksgiving Day holiday. An executive session was held on Tuesday, November 13, 2018 at 12 p.m. for the purpose of discussing personnel matters. A motion is needed for the Commissioners to sign the state tax equalization voucher for transfers of real estate for the months of September and October 2018 as submitted by the Assessment Office.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the employee status sheet list of new hires, individuals no longer employed, promotions, demotions, and transfers as items number 1 through 35.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
A motion is needed to approve the following reports as listed on your public meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
A motion is needed to reappoint Chairman Richard J. Schock as the Commissioner Representative to a one-year term of Northumberland County Conservation District Board of Directors with a term beginning January 1st, 2019 and ending December 31st, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to reappoint Richard Daniels Dalmatia as the Farmer Director on the Northumberland County Conservation District Board of Directors to a 4-year term beginning January 1st, 2019 and ending December 31st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to reappoint Charles Hopta Jr. to the Wyoming Valley Levy Raising Mitigation Board for a 1-year term beginning January 1st, 2019 and ending December 31st, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to appoint Joseph Knappich, Cole Township, to the Northumberland County Recreation Commission to a 1-year term beginning January 1st, 2019 and ending December 31st, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to approve the reduction in funding of $261 for Northumberland County's Weatherization Assistance Program on behalf of the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Contract Number C000066284.
So moved.
Second.
On the question,
My only question is, this is just because we didn't use it? It was like, right?
Last year, Northumberland County took part in a kind of a pilot program for radon testing. And the number that was originally budgeted and given to Northumberland County was $10,000. They used all but $261. They're adjusting the budget by $261 to return money.
So
And
you guys know that over here, we're not reducing the amount that we're giving that department to be able to heat homes.
we'll participate in the radon program.
Okay.
Further? Okay, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the County of Northumberland and National Correctional Employees Union Local 133.
So moved.
Second?
The question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed authorizing the majority of the Board of Commissioners to sign documentation to process fund transfers for accounts payable expenses on an as-needed basis per recommendations by Northumberland County Treasurer and Controller.
So moved.
Second?
On the question?
I have something.
Oh, okay, and one thing, just to explain to people why we're putting this on here. In the past, whenever we've had to temporarily move monies from, the general fund into other accounts specific to departments, and when that usually comes up is particularly the ones where we're getting state reimbursement funding, and sometimes they're late in getting that to us. I think we've done it, this recent one was maybe the sixth time probably since this administration came in. It was done in the past. In the past, that had always been done via a sign-off process, where, if you had at least two of the commissioners sign off on it, you were able to do the transfer, as opposed to having to come to a meeting or call a special meeting, which is what we did this time. And I think there was, some apprehension about doing it in that fashion, and I think the one before this, there was reluctance by at least some to do that process, even though I think in the past, I think there was at least 5 times where this board followed that process, and I know the past boards had as well. It's for the most part an accounting function where we're moving the monies over. We rely on the fact that we have a controller who's independent of us, who feels that, in his analysis of it, that yes, he knows that the state monies will be coming in. There's a delay, rather than have it be where, we had to scramble around and try and hold a special meeting, calling the press to attend it on an emergency basis, when I don't feel it's an appropriate thing to characterize it on an ongoing basis as an emergency, because we know that it will come up a couple times a year every year. So those are the types of things where I feel it's better to have a process in place. So I asked to have this on the agenda so that we would then be able to just have an approved process in place, similar to how we do with hires as well. When you have an existing position, right now we don't bring every hire here ahead of time, because obviously we meet once a month. You may have people that get another job offer in that month, and frankly terminations as well can't wait a month, and it's not because they're going to come up. You don't want to call special meetings all the time or emergency meetings. So that's why I put it on there, so that we can just get back to doing that, and everybody can feel comfortable with the fact that we have approved a process in a public meeting which allows for that sign-off process to occur. So.
I have actually looked up when this has happened in the past, and this is something that goes back all the way to the previous administration, and a transfer of funds occurred on February 11, 2011. I didn't get all of them, but I have one to show that it did occur. It did occur many times since we've been in office. August 25th, 2016, a transfer of funds signed by all 3 commissioners. July 15th, 2016, transfer of funds signed by all 3 commissioners. February 5th, 2016, transfer of funds signed by all 3 commissioners. January 29th, 2016, transfer of funds, all 3 commissioners. July 22nd, 2016, transfer of funds signed by the majority commissioners. December 15th, 2016, transfer of funds signed by majority commissioners, Rick and myself. March 30th, 2017, transfer of funds signed by Rick and myself. March 21st, 2017, transfer of funds signed by Rick and myself. April 20th, 2017, transfer of funds signed by Rick and myself. July 20th, 2017, signed by Rick and myself. And May 4th, 2017, signed by all three commissioners. So it's something that has always happened, but again, so we don't get into this situation again, it's best to put it on the agenda and get it approved, so we don't have this situation again.
I just have a few comments. Well, first of all, just because things are done in the past doesn't mean that you should not improve on the way things are done. I have no problem with allowing the majority to sign for transfer of funds. The issue is notice, because sometimes when there comes a need for these things, it implicates other issues, like the one that we just called the special meeting for. And without stating exact causes, sometimes the underlying issues and things that happen as a result of not getting funds to some of our providers are in the interest of having all the commissioners know about it. So it's not so much that it would be anybody's intention, it wouldn't be my intention to try to stop funds being placed into departments that need them on a temporary basis. It's two issues. It's one, having a process where all three of us have notice of that, having the reason be given at the same time of the notice, and having an anticipated date when we're going to receive those funds back to us. So let me give you an example. The one that just happened was on an emergency basis. It couldn't wait. I get that. It was for one of our agencies. The reason is because that agency was not receiving funds from Harrisburg. We knew about the amount of them. We knew why it had to be paid and why it couldn't be delayed, because we would then own interest if we put our providers on hold. But I was notified of it, Rick and I went to a special meeting and voted in favor of that, and we were then given information about when we can anticipate getting those funds back. It's that type of information that I think is the reason that there's been a failure in the process, at least from a minority's point of view. And there's another person on this board that was a minority. I'm sure he can appreciate that. The reason that it's important to have that isn't just because of moving funds around, and I understand that we have to do it when we have to do it. But much like the example that Mr. Schock used about hires and fires, we then have a list that's generated at the next meeting to tell people who was hired, who was fired. If there's any issues that come up, we can discuss them. Having large amounts of money being transferred from one account to another department with an anticipated date and no record or notice of it, or an opportunity to see other issues going on surrounding that, is what concerns me. With this specific one, we have a provider that provided service for Area on Aging, and that provider was not happy. I read a trail of emails and letters that was sent out because this provider wasn't given any notice that we weren't receiving the funding to be able to pay them. And so what I mean is, we're also managers, right? We're not just accountants. So, you know, I as a manager want to know why perhaps our department didn't allow our providers to know that we were going to be delayed in having these funds, so that the provider who runs a business with a payroll would know these types of issues and be able to make changes. It didn't make our department look good, and I'd like to know when those types of management issues are happening. So I'm okay with having this be done, and obviously it's going to be done whether I'm okay with it or not. I'm just hoping that this motion can include that there's a required notice of those issues to go out to all three of us before the majority signs, or before all of us sign. And there typically is. It's something short, though. It says, like, the treasurer wants to know whether or not he can move funds from A to B.
Bills.
To pay bills, right. Okay?
And the money, usually I have an idea when the money's coming back.
Right.
So Karen will put on that letter, expected funds back in 2 weeks.
Right.
2 days.
Right. This particular issue, though, that just happened, it could have impacted our healthcare. It did impact a service provider. You know, had I not known about that and you just transfer funds around, I don't feel that I have enough information to also be a manager, not just an accountant. So I'm just saying that I would like the opportunity to have complete information before anybody would sign off on transferring of funds. It's information that is my issue, not being able to do accounting. That's all I'm saying.
Can I just
Actually,
ask Chris and Kevin, when this is done, are all three commissioners notified?
Yeah, we're notified, but
Kevin takes a letter
To the office, and if we have any questions, are we at liberty to call and talk to you at any time? That's all.
I know I've always called, like when you've done it, you've always given us an explanation as to why it's done, you know, and
I
that's,
mean, when we see that there's, we're going to need some funding from the general account, we call the department. We ask them when they expect to have this money that they're short. And then they look into it, they get back to Chris and myself, and they say, you know, X amount of dollars is coming in, like for area and aging. $300,000 is coming in on Friday. Our pay, we were running the check run on Thursday. He sees the money is going to be coming in. He's verified it through the state. So that's why I feel comfortable knowing that it's going to be coming, you know?
I think
And
it's
it comes
unfair
on
to,
a monthly
I think it's
basis.
unfair to characterize this as though as the information wasn't given or made available to people in the past, because obviously in the past, I mean, everybody signed off on these in the past several times, and it was always, you've always given us an explanation as to why it is, and if anybody has follow-up questions, as some people did on this one, that's always been given in the past as well. I think everybody's gotten kind of skittish because of all these various allegations of Sunshine Act violations and things like that, that in these last two times, the one before this as well, some people were saying, well, no, I'm not going to do that unless it's in a public meeting. Well, these things can't wait for a public meeting all the time because you have provisions in almost every case where this happens. It's always happened where it's one of our departments that's waiting on monies that come through from the state, and whether it's a service provider or our employees or whoever it is, there are bills that need to be paid, and that's the whole reason why they're asking for it. There's never an instance where you're asking for the money to be transferred and there isn't someone who needs to be paid, whether or not that's what's generating the request for the movement of the funds over, pending that coming over. And I think that, you know, the reason why we've worded it on, you know, on an as-needed basis per recommendations by the county treasurer and controller is that we would have that information, you'd be conveying that information to us, and we would certainly be getting notified of that ahead of time. And frankly, you know, it's going to be presented, as it always has been, to us in the form of a sign-off, and so you'll have part of the explanation there, and if you want any more explanation, certainly the two of you are available to give that, as has always been the case. I guess that's what I'm saying. It hasn't been handled any differently. This particular one was not different than any of the other ones. In all the other cases that we did where people did sign off it, and at the time, for whatever reason, they were comfortable with it then, they got uncomfortable with it. In every single one of those cases, the information was always given, and you guys were available to answer any questions, and in fact did. I know I called you multiple times on the other ones to find out what's prompting this, what's the...
A lot of times in the past, the state didn't pass the budget, so we were really...
Yeah,
In 15,
yeah, some
we
of
did
it
this
was the state budget, we had more of them, but...
2015, we did this every
Yeah,
week.
but we've also had several instances where if it wasn't the state budget, it was just this particular, you know, there was a delay in the particular, you know, reimbursement.
That might be a
period.
red flag. I don't know why that department, maybe they did not submit their paperwork on time to the state, and that may be a reason why we're not getting our funding. I don't look into that. That's, you know.
Look into whether or not
But
we
it
need
was
to.
ever overseeing that department.
Kevin, and that's what I'm saying. The way that this comes to me is typically there is a group text that comes out from our administrative assistant that says, can I stamp your name on a transfer of funds for the treasurer? And then I usually say, from what department? And then she will respond. I don't have the information in front of me when she asks to do that. Now, Of course, I can call your office and ask all of those questions. I'm just simply saying, if I got the letter that she ultimately stamps our name, it gives some general information. There's a couple of paragraphs. It says it's moving from this department to this department, and here's the expected date that we're going to get it back, and here's how much it is, okay? That is not the information that I immediately receive. It's an accounting thing. It's very loose. I'm asked if she can stamp our names on this transferring from A to B, okay?
We'll stamp or
Then-
have people come down and sign it. Sometimes it's just more convenient
Okay,
to have the stamp.
all right. So this particular one was a little different because the controller contacted me. He told me the issues. I had an opportunity to ask some questions, and it was a little different than the normal things. And I was able to ask questions like, if we put a freeze on it, are we going to incur an interest? How's this going to impact our health care, and why were these funds not received? Is it a management issue? Did they not put in for the funds? You know, I had a service provider that's very upset, okay? And like a 4-page letter and, you know, emails and things. And you're not going to know that. You just need to know from your end that we need to move funds from A to B. I guess what I'm saying is I'm uncomfortable with the fact that if we pass this, and it's going to pass, that the majority can just sign and I might not ever know those issues. That's all I'm trying to say. So I just wanted to say why I feel the way I feel.
Let me just read a couple of these that were what we
Just a
signed.
minute. Frank, and before you do so, Frank has an amended motion, which is some of the stuff that we talked about in terms of, you know, having it announced at the next meeting as well, so that people know how many of these are out there, and maybe that can address any issues people have.
I wasn't asked to look at this specific motion before the meeting, but what I would suggest is the following. Which is needed, authorizing the majority of the Board of Commissioners to sign the documentation to process fund transfers for accounts payable expenses on an as-needed basis, per recommendation by the Northumberland County Treasurer and Controller, subject to providing the Commissioners with 24 hours notice, containing the name of the department, the reason for the transfer, the amount of the transfer, and the anticipated reimbursement, subject to ratification at subsequent meeting.
Thank you.
That way, we'll have a protocol, and that's the stuff that should be contained, and that way, we're authorizing that we can do that transfer. Hours notice.
Do you have anything further, Sam, and then what we'll do is...
Well,
withdraw the other motion.
I'm reading these, and it says basically, you know, the need to transfer $100,000 for MHMR. The funds will be repaid as soon as reimbursed from the state. The next one, the funds will be repaid as soon as drug and alcohol receives their allocation. The next one, the funds will be repaid as soon as drug and alcohol receives their third quarter allotment. So on these papers that we're signing, it's not only saying what it's needed for, where it's going, and it is giving some type of an agreement of when it would be repaid back to us, either when it's paid from the state or wherever. So all the information you need is on these papers when you sign them. And if ever there's any questions, you just call these two guys. They're accessible at any time.
Right. Go ahead. Yep.
Just to explain to everybody out there, our process that we have in place, we normally don't have this number until Thursday. So it's not like we know about this on Monday and we're springing it on the commissioners last minute saying we got to move this money. We don't have, you know, till our information's updated in our system, we don't know if they're short until Thursday. With reference to the most recent 2 times we did this, the first time 2 weeks ago, you had the money, I think, on Friday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was almost to the point where we didn't have to do it, but we didn't know we didn't have to do it, so those funds were there Friday, and this most recent transfer, those funds are there tonight.
Right.
So, you know, it's not something that, you know, at least these last 2 times, unlike the state budget impasse where we were tallying balances week after week so that we could keep our, you know, departments providing the services without, you know, limiting them to the taxpayers. The one other thing I wanted to clarify, so that everybody, also realizes.
So the 24
this-
hours may not be acceptable.
It should be. Yeah, I was thinking, but it
Well,
may be a Friday afternoon at
Notice
2
at
o'clock.
the
maybe.
earliest, yeah, or something like that,
You
yeah,
know.
if we, yeah.
But, the one other thing I wanted to clarify, this is movement of money from the general fund to other departments, okay? Not
Right.
the other way around.
Right.
We're not taking money from the human service
Because we
departments.
don't have enough in our
and
general
using
fund.
it in
We
the
have
general
it in our
fund.
general fund.
That's one thing we really want to clarify there,
Yeah.
because, and we're also not moving money between the human service departments. It's the general fund saying, we're gonna loan you this money because we know you got money coming back in. It's never the other way around.
Or the debt service.
Right.
We never move money from the general to debt service. We always have sufficient enough money in debt service to pay
Right.
our debts, so.
And Frank, my issue isn't whether it's 12 or 24 hours or anything like that. It's the information.
Say like due notice or something like that, and, if you don't want to put the 24-hour on in case you have an emergency and you can't comply with that.
I'm just trying to stay consistent of when
Yeah,
I came
and-
in here 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And the state was, they didn't balance their budget, we were running around.
Yeah, and
So,
and
just
the
wanted
reason
to be
why I've
consistent.
put this on here is so that we don't have a situation like we did where we're trying to scramble around and get people here for a special meeting, and again, I don't like saying that we have to call emergency meetings for something that we know has happened several times here and will continue to happen, so that's not an emergency, that's something we should be able to plan and have a process for.
And all commissioners are notified at the same time, and we all have the same amount of time
Yeah.
to contact anyone if we have any questions, correct? Correct. Thank you.
Do you want to, we'll withdraw the prior motion, and if you want to read off the motion as amended.
Item 17, a motion is needed authorizing the majority of the Board of Commissioners to sign documentation to process fund transfers for accounts payable expenses on an as-needed basis per the recommendation, subject to providing the Commissioners prior notice of the name of the department, reason for the transfer, approximate amount of the transfer, anticipate, and approximate reimbursement, also subject to ratification at a subsequent public meeting.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and second. Anything further on? Okay. Motion made and second on all in favor state aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to reappoint Commissioner Kimberly Best to the Central Susquehanna Cooperative Extension Association for a term beginning January 1st, 2019 and ending December 31st, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
The question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
I guess.
Motion is needed to reappoint Commissioner Samuel Chickatano to the CEDACOG Board of Directors for a term beginning January 1st, 2019 and ending December 31st, 2019.
Make the motion.
I'll second. On the question? All in favor state aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion need to authorize the Tax Claims Bureau to conduct a private sale of real estate for a property located at 1086 Trevorton Road, Cole Township, Pennsylvania, parcel number 00D-00-066-083, with all sales contingent upon approval of taxing bodies wherein property is located.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion need to hire a part-time Assistant County Solicitor, Stephanie J. Webb, at the current starting salary for the position at the recommendation of the solicitor.
So moved.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to adopt a Northumberland County catastrophic loss real estate review policy pertaining to property tax assessments as presented by Brenda Shaw, Director of the Real Estate Assessment and Tax Claims.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to authorize the execution of a First Amendment to the option agreement with Vignanier LLC, extending the deadline to execute a sales agreement by 30 days.
So moved.
Second. On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed. Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the following proclamations. Proclamation National Bullying and Prevention, month of October, and Unity Day, Northumberland County, October 24th, 2018, and 100th anniversary of Armistice Day, November 11th, 2018.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed authorizing travel requests and attendance at the following workshops, seminars, as in accordance with the County Personnel Manual Travel Reimbursement Policy, as listed on your public meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to adopt Resolution R94-18, Amendment Number 2 to this food service contract between Northumberland County and CBM Managed Services, NKA, Summit Food Service, LLC.
Not,
Not known as.
I'm assuming that's AKA.
okay.
Oh, now.
Oh, now known as?
Now known as.
Oh.
There you go.
Now known as Summit Food Service, LLC, for the management of food service operation at the Northumberland County Prison.
So moved.
Second?
The question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R95-18, snow removal agreements between the Northumberland County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Northumberland County Engineer and the Borough of Milton and the Independence Fire Company for removal of snow on county bridges located in the Borough of Milton in the city of Shamokin.
So moved.
Second?
The question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R96-18, agreement for tower shelter upgrades between the County of Northumberland on behalf of Public Safety /911 and the County of Snyder and the County of Union, operating under the registered fictitious name Central Susquehanna Regional 911 System to utilize shelter space for digital P25 radio equipment at the tower known as Blue Hill. This is a ratification.
So moved.
Second?
The question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R97-18, resolution for funding through the Next Generation Farm Loan Program on behalf of the Penn Industrial Authority in Lancaster County for J.M. and Rhonda S. Stolfus for a 53.84-acre farm located on Schwaben Creek Road, Dornsife, Pennsylvania, in accordance with the Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act of 1982.
So moved.
Second?
The question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R98-18, resolution to authorize a pilot agreement between the County of Northumberland and the Housing Development Corporation of Northumberland County, HDCNC, for certain property located in the Township of Cole, which is subject to an option agreement between HDCNC and the Northumberland County Authority, Pennsylvania, subject to A low-income housing tax credit program being approved for an affordable housing project on the property, B, HDCNC exercising its option and purchasing the property, and C, approval of the and participation in the pilot by other taxing authorities, i.e. Shamokin Area School District and Township of Cole.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and seconded on the question. Ed, I don't know, I think you're here regarding this. Did you want to say anything about it for the, but sure, yeah, educate the audience on what this is about.
Thank you very much. I'm Ed Cristiano, Executive Director of Northumberland County Housing Authority and also the Housing Development Corporation of Northumberland County. We are in the process of submitting an application for 36 apartments at what was previously known as the Old Manor Building on Treverton Road. It's successful. The name of the building and the apartments will be called Mountainside Estates. We will be submitting the application this week. This approval by the commissioners will enhance our application. We plan to, we're looking forward to the additional points that this pilot will entail us to get over a 10-year period. The property right now is tax exempt, so the county, the school district, and a municipality is not collecting any tax on the property right now. So over a 10-year period, it will generate the property taxes that will be due on the property. We anticipate about $33,000 after 10 years that the county, the municipality, and the school district will be able to recover. So the additional points by the commissioners here, if approved, will help our application, and we look I think we have a very good chance this time of getting this approved. The Shamokin Area School District has approved this, the pilot. The Township of Cole has also approved the pilot. So the only taxing body that is left right now is the Northumberland County Commissioners. So with their approval, this economic development project, also the affordable housing that it will provide for 36 apartments for our elderly, will go a long way in our successful application.
And Ed, this is a joint effort by the three, Shamokin School District, Cole Township, and ourselves, cooperating together to do something that's good in the Cole Township area and for the people of that area.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay. Yeah.
You quoted 33, and with the updated millage rates, it's closer to 35. That would be 35,000. 35,500.
There you go.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, there has been
35,000.
a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R99-18, resolution to authorize tax abatement agreement between the County of Northumberland and the Housing Development Corporation of Northumberland County, HDCNC, for certain property located in the Township of Cole, which is the subject of an option agreement between HDCNC and the Northumberland County Authority, Pennsylvania, subject to A, low-income housing tax credit program being approved for an affordable housing project on the property, B, HDCNC exercising its option and purchasing the property, and C, approval of and participation in the pilot by the other taxing authorities, i.e. Shamokin Area School District and Township of Cole.
So moved.
Second.
The question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R100-18, amendment to contract between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of the Northumberland County Prison and Keep Commissary Network, LLC, for the adjustment of the commission rate for the commissary and secure pack purchases at the prison.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R101-18, consent for right of entry between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of the engineer and the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection for the performance of an abandoned mine reclamation project in the area of Cole Township and Zerby Township.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R102-18, Second Amendment to contract between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of Weatherization and Green Kite, decreasing the QCI inspection price from $650 to $550.
So moved.
Second.
The question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R103-18, professional services agreement between the Northumberland County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the courts and Irvin Blank Associates for court reporting services.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R104-18, settlement agreement and mutual limited release between the County of Northumberland on behalf of Children and Youth Services and Avanco International Incorporated, whereby the county will accept a settlement payment of $2,462.69 from Avanco International, Inc., related to costs incurred to determine the extent of vulnerabilities and potential compromising of information on the Child Accounting Profile System, CAPS.
Moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R105-18, Commissioner's Budget Amendment as listed.
Motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second. On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R106, Agreements, Amendments, Revisions, Grants, Releases, and Reports between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of the Human, Senior, and Social Services and the named service providers as listed, numbers 1 through 6.
So moved.
Second? I'll second. On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R107-18, agreements, amendments, revisions, grants, leases, and reports between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of the Human, Senior, and Social Services and the named service providers as listed, numbers 7 through 14. As to both this motion and the previous one, the above agreements, amendments, revisions, grants, leases, and reports are not with county employees, nor does their organizational contract list county employees as principals in their corporation or on their board of directors.
A motion?
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and second on the question. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, is there any old business come before the board?
Yeah, I have something I'd like to bring up. Everyone knows that this past week, the road up at the new prison site was made public, and since then, I had a few people who have contacted me and questioned me about a $2 million increase because of the road being made public. And I told them I knew nothing about it. They did contact some other people and were told to do a right to know, and they left me know that, and I've tried to find out, because I think I asked Chris, and I don't know if I asked Kevin, and I asked Steve Cook, what are we talking about? Because I know nothing about anything about a $2 million increase because the road was made public, and nobody really knows, so I would like to just put that out. Does anybody know what that means? A $2 million increase because the road was made public.
The law provides when you declare a road public that you may
Okay, that's okay.
increase up to 2 mils for the purpose of maintaining the public
All
road.
right. Nobody said you may, but we may increase taxes anytime we'd like to if we need to, be
This is
be
additional.
necessary. This is additional.
Right.
Well, I'll let everybody know. I have no reason to think there will be a $2 million increase because of the road being made public. So you got that from me. I don't know, again, if that was put out to scare people or what it was, but I will tell those people then the answer is we may, and I plan on not doing it, for sure.
I think, too, that is probably assuming, as would often be the case, that you were building a road out or something like that, I guess. But this road already existed. Frankly, it was already a road that we would have been maintaining. By making it public, there's a couple of things that happen. One is you can now utilize state liquid fuels monies, same as townships do when they have a public road, to offset the costs of the ongoing maintenance of it. The other thing is if the agreement is able to be completed with Vignanier with respect to the purchase of the building up at the top of the hill at the end of this road, part of that agreement is that they will, in perpetuity, they would bear 1/3 of the costs of the maintenance of that road as well. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. So, is there any other old business? Any new business come before the board? Any further public input? Okay, seeing none, I'll motion to adjourn.